Look, I'm all for it, man. The butting heads, the sparring, the trash talk, it fuels endless emotion and brings the very best out of some players. Either you let the trash talk mess with your head, or you take all that smack, absorb it, and spit it right back and make that trash talker forever regret he opened his mouth in the first place.
Steph, does he talk a little trash out there?
His shit talking is what he does to the crowd. He'll hit a shot and then he'll turn around and look at the crowd and be like, I'm him, or like, yeah.
Sure, Steph's trash talking isn't your typical nasty, brute style like that of, say, Larry Bird, Kevin Garnett, or even his teammate Draymond Green. But say something to him that he might not like, and trust me, you're in for one.
And Hart to tie this series at 1 apiece.
Imagine showing up a former unanimous MVP who won more first-round series than you've actually played in. Imagine thinking that trying to get under his skin after just 2 games in the series is a smart thing to do. Now, I get it. Ja's young, excited, kind of a daredevil. Actually, not kind of, but I'll leave that alone for right now. I guess you could say that Ja learned, maybe it was best not to test the man with a killer instinct like Steph Curry.
Curry, great setup. Got it to go. Puts the foul.
The young fella learned his lesson. Actually, that was just the first part, because those who've seen enough of Steph Curry playing with a chip on his shoulder, they know he won't stop until he absolutely has you by the throat.
Curry by himself for 2. Crucial, because in that second half, Golden State can do it. Up ahead. Curry lines it up. Curry!
See, I know that Ja Morant getting hurt in this series likely stripped us of a good old-fashioned scratch-claw 7-game series, but seriously, ask yourself this. Was Memphis really escaping that series with a dub after the fire Ja lit under Steph? I can give you the facts, the numbers of exactly what happened and the mode Steph Curry entered after he was invoked by Ja. See, I'm not too much of a numbers guy and definitely don't do math, but even I'm knowledgeable enough to understand the greatness of these numbers. Steph scored 105 points and sank 15 three-pointers total after that very moment Ja Morant walked past Steph after Game 2 and said what he said to the ex-2-time MVP. So, Ja, was it a good idea to try and get in Steph's head? Please. 2018 was still the last time an NBA team won back-to-back NBA titles. That was the team that had Steph Curry on it, who was at the peak of his powers. Yet, it's one thing to try a legend when he's older and supposedly not as good as he once used to be. But folks, let me ask you this. What in the world made a bench warmer in office attire think that it was okay to get up and start bad-mouthing Steph? In fact, Kendrick Perkins didn't even see the light of play 1 iota in his 4-game sweep, but he still wanted to talk some trash to Steph. After Steph threw up a shot with a third-quarter ending, Steph took exception to Kendrick Perkins sitting with his legs all the way out on the court. And in Steph's defense, Perk was sitting way out and could have hurt someone if someone came close enough during the course of the game. But when Steph turned around and told him that wasn't cool, instead of maybe saying, "my bad," or just a simple apology, Perk got all defensive and the two guys had to be kind of separated.
But first of all, I don't know what I did wrong, right? I'm sitting down. I didn't move. I didn't do nothing. I'm sitting down chilling, right? I'm minding my business. We getting beat. He's doing his thing. He said that I tried to trip him. I'm like, bro, I didn't move my leg. I didn't stick my leg. I was sitting the same way the whole time. What are you talking about? And I was just like, you know what I told him? I said, Steph, man, chill out, man. For real, father.
But the only thing that was being separated was Steph Curry from the rest of the universe. Because what he did in the game from that moment on was simply revolutionary. And all-time special. How do I want to put this? Let's call the fourth quarter Steph Curry's playground. Steph went on a three-point shooting barrage, going an impossibly great 5 of 5 from three-point range, absolutely blowing the roof off that building each time he knocked in a 3 from the parking lot. It was one of the greatest single-quarter shooting displays ever and killed any real hope that the Cavs had. I mean, when number 30 goes off like that, you're at his mercy. Just pray he misses. Okay, there's that, but I want to continue this trend because, seriously, I'm having just as much fun as you are narrating over these cold Steph Curry moments. Let's fast forward a year later, this time to the 2019 playoffs where Steph and the Warriors took on the Houston Rockets, who everyone was saying had Golden State's number this time around. Especially considering that they, the Rockets, were just one game away from the NBA Finals a year earlier, perhaps if CP3 stayed healthy. So, long story short, Chris Paul was pretty bitter about how his team went out in the playoffs a year earlier and wanted to do anything he could to kick Steph's Warriors out of the postseason early. Let's just say that didn't quite happen. Sorry, CP3. The Warriors flipped the switch immediately during the midway point of Game 5 and took the victory at home to secure a 3-2 series lead over the Rockets. But Houston wasn't down and out just yet because they had Game 6 back at home and could potentially tie up the series and force a Game 7. Steph Curry, you bad motherfucker. That night before Game 6, something happened between Steph and CP3 behind the scenes that not a lot of people bring up when mentioning their mini beefs over the years. According to Marcus Thompson of The Athletic, Steph wanted to practice on one end of Houston's court to get ready for Game 6, until Chris Paul heard about the entire deal and had Steph kicked off the court so he couldn't practice by himself. I mean, literally, he had Steph Curry leave Houston's court. But you know Steph, he keeps his receipts. With only 10 points entering a pivotal fourth quarter, Steph was struggling mightily in the first 36 minutes of this ball game. But the former MVP erupted with one of the greatest stretches of his entire career. Steph hit some incredibly contested three-pointers that were gut punches for Houston. With the Warriors clinging to a 2-point lead on the road and just 3 minutes left in the game in this do-or-die game for Houston, Steph hit another three that felt like a dagger, with two Rockets players in his vicinity trying to contain. But hold on, there's more. A few possessions later, and with the Warriors again up by just 2 points, Steph razzled and dazzled with the basketball and hit the shot that is still haunting Rockets fans today. 23 points in the final quarter after CP3 tried showing up Steph before the game and thought he could get away with it. And while walking back to the locker room after the game, "Kick me off the court again, boy." Look, clearly young guys nowadays aren't taking cues from their predecessors. And what I mean by that is another Rockets player more recently not using this CP3 situation as a lesson to not mess with one of the GOATs in Steph Curry. Houston Rockets rising star Kevin Porter Jr. is a nice talent, no doubt. But on no planet should this man have been trying to poke the bear that is Steph Curry. With just a few minutes left in the third quarter, KPJ got called for a foul while trying to guard Steph.
Will just not go away. Steph.
And then he began eyeing Steph, like in a menacing way, or at least he tried to act all intimidating.
He does not like that call. He's still staring at him. Steph is not even going to acknowledge him. I think that's the right approach.
Steph didn't say anything back right then and there, just like most seasoned masterminds like Steph who know. Steph was having an average game, a cool 19 points entering the final quarter of play before things got really interesting. Steph got the ball slowly rolling after he hit this deep step back with 5:40 left in the fourth. But just a little while later, KPJ jogged back on offense with the ball in his hands and hit a three-pointer on cue with Steph guarding him. And that one really got him hyped. F*** you talking about, boy? After that moment, KPJ tried disrespecting Steph for the second time. Steph went for 26. Yes, 26 points in only 16 minutes of action. All in all, 40 points on 7 three-pointers, and my favorite stat of them all, one trash talker deleted. Do I need to say much more? Does Steph need to say or do much more?